Welcome into week 9 of Power 5 picks. I am here as always with Ethan. We have 5 ranked games this week. It's our first ever week where we've had a full slate of all ranked games that we go over on the show. And we are also getting an additional game for you guys. So we have 6 games to cover. We have a big rivalry game between my Michigan Wolverines and Ethan's Spartans. So, of course, being the host of the show and the friendly little rivalry we got going on, we got to cover it. But a quick recap before we'll get into these games. I got destroyed last week, both on the show and actual betting. I went 1-4, bringing my record to 22-19. Still up a unit, 1.1 units if you do take every bet to win a unit. Ethan, profitable last week, 3-2 to add to your record of 26-14-1. If you're tailing all of Ethan's plays, again, betting them to win a unit, you would be up 10.6 units through 8 weeks of college football. So Ethan's absolutely killing it on the show. I know me and him have both struggled actually betting. Again, we record on Thursday nights. We try to have our minds not change too much, but when Saturday morning rolls around, we sometimes do flip some sides here. But Ethan's killing it on the show. Ethan, glad to have you here. I hope we can continue to kill it as well. How are you feeling heading into the week? And desperate for a profitable week actual betting for the both of us.
Yeah, my dumbass gave out Tennessee and Illinois on the show last week, and then went and bet Michigan and Alabama. So yeah, it's not been a good college football season outside of the show, but um, yeah. Also, rivalry is kind of a loose term at this point. Since I've known you, I don't think Michigan State has a win outright against Michigan, um, except basketball. That's coming up here, but yeah, looking forward to this week. Like you said, have to get the 5 ranked games in. Have to talk about the Michigan State game. So yeah, 6 games on the docket, and we're gonna have another profitable week on the show.
Yeah, hopefully in our betting life as well. That would be much needed. Let's get into the big game. The big game for us. That is Michigan State traveling to Michigan. Michigan is a 5-point favorite here. The last we checked on Thursday night. Over under sitting at 39. Michigan State coming off a win against Iowa. Impressive win. Again, new coach, new quarterback, a lot of new guys over at Michigan State. Kind of a new team, new identity. I am liking what I'm seeing out of the Spartans there. And then Michigan coming off 2 losses in a row. Yes, that is correct. They just lost to Illinois. Michigan hasn't lost 2 regular season games in about, I think, since COVID 2020, where they did lose to State that year as well. But yeah, it's been a rough year for Michigan and myself. Obviously, when you win a national championship, I think that takes over a lot for the next couple of years. But I'm greedy and I want to win now. And frankly, Michigan cannot win right now. But I'll send it to you first for your prediction of this game.
Yeah, 5 is a tough number. We talked last week. Had Michigan State lost to Iowa, or even won, had Michigan beat Illinois, I would have loved State in this spot. But Michigan off the back-to-back losses does make it tough. I'm still going to lean Sparty plus the points. Um, and I have to take the spot out of it here. I wish we had a better number. I wish we had locked this in when it was at 7. I actually saw the look ahead line way back in June when they first put out the numbers. Sparty plus 24.5. So I really wish I had that. Um, but yeah, the spot doesn't really correlate here. However, I just don't. These two teams are pretty similar in my eyes. Good defense, struggling offense, really hampered each of them by quarterbacks that are still trying to find their way in college football. Um, so there's, to me, kind of 2 even teams. Michigan does have Oregon on deck, who is now the new number 1 ranked team in the country. So I think that's at the big house as well. I think there could be a touch of a look ahead spot. I say it every single year. Michigan State, just in general, cares more about this game than Michigan does because Michigan's biggest rivalry is Ohio State, where State is Michigan. And then Michigan State has 2 ranked matchups on deck after this. It's Indiana and it's Illinois. A reason why I liked them against Iowa last week is because I said I didn't think they had a chance to look ahead. They're not playing for a playoff spot. They're not playing for a championship. They're playing for a bowl game. And they need the wins where they can get them, which is why I thought they'd show up and look good against Iowa, and they did. Same thing here for Michigan. I think they feel like maybe at this point it could be a more winnable game than Indiana, who looks actually legit, and then Illinois. Um, so yeah, I think the two teams are fairly even this year. I think they play a similar style of football. Again, their quarterbacks are kind of keeping them from being a little bit better than probably where they should be. But yeah, I'll take the points with Michigan State. A bit of a homer pick, um, but yeah, I think it's a good year for Michigan State to get back in that win column.
Yeah, I mean, you did mention that they're kind of similar teams. Michigan State's defense is actually pretty good. Holding Iowa to what they did. I know they had that one long rush. Iowa did, but yeah, very impressive Michigan State's offense or defense. Offensively, they did look very bad to start the year, but I have seen massive improvements from. Is it Giles? Is that how you pronounce it? Giles.
Yep.
He still does have an interception problem, but he is super athletic. He is starting to take care of the ball a little bit more this year than he was earlier in the season. Then you go to Michigan, and he's like 17 or 18 years old. He's a young kid there. Then you go to Michigan, who I think has gotten worse offensively. Quarterback play is at an all-time low, and we have an eighth-year quarterback that is making these stupid mistakes. So I just think it's much more optimistic. The future is much brighter currently right now for Michigan State. But I am going to have to go with my boys in Michigan here. And the reason for it, Michigan season's over now. They did have playoff hopes. Obviously, it would be a reach for them to be the national championship team with how much they lost coaching wise, player wise last year. There's always that in the back mind with a 12-team playoff that maybe they could sneak in. That's out the window. That's completely done. Bowl game might be a question out there. I know you only need 6-7 wins, but like you said, they have Oregon on deck. They still have Indiana. They have Ohio State. Not a whole lot of easy games left for Michigan. I am going to the Northwestern games. Watch that be a game that they lose there. But this now turned into more than just a Michigan State game. This is a Michigan State team who is on the rise and a Michigan team on the decline. I think Michigan actually gets really up for this game. Losing this would just be, it's I don't know. I know you can't fire a coach after 1 year. That's, you can't do that. But losing this game would be extremely bad for the Wolverines. So I think they really get up for it. I think the motivation is at an all-time high. And if they lose, I will be might not be on this earth. Just kidding. Again, they won a natty. I got to be happy, but this year's been rough. So I'm gonna take Michigan on the -5. Let it be known, Michigan is 1-6 against the spread. I have taken them against the spread or money line every single week. My only win, and it was a massive win, was a USC game. But I am currently drowning in my own piss back in the Wolverines. But I do think they get up for this game. I'll take them at home. I'm super nervous for it. I think State has a legit chance of winning this outright. Just hope Michigan can figure something out, which might be a big ask. But yeah, enough of that game. I know that wasn't your guys' biggest game on the list, but it's a big game for me and Ethan. Go ahead.
Friendly wager. I don't have any Michigan clothing, but you want to bet? We can do spread or outright, but I'll wear like yellow next week if you want to wear green. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be team specific because I'm sure you don't own any Michigan State. I don't own any Michigan, but I don't care. We can do outright or spread, up to you. But yeah,
Let's
loser have to wear the other team's colors.
Yeah, let's do spread. If Michigan State wins, I will go and buy a Michigan State shirt for that.
Okay.
But let's do spread for the color of the opposite team.
Okay.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, then we get into our ranked matchups. And the first game up is a noon game on Saturday. We have Notre Dame, number 12, traveling to number 24, Navy. Navy 6-0. Notre Dame is 6-1 with their one loss, obviously, to Northern Illinois, one of the worst losses of the year. Notre Dame, like I said, is a 13.5-point favorite. This is a tough game. These military schools are tough. Navy and Army are both a very tough game for me to read because they're just very one-dimensional. They run it 90% of the game, and then they'll hit you for a 40-yard play-action pass when you don't know how it happens. But I do lean Notre Dame in this game. My bet is actually going to be, I know I haven't taken totals in a while, but my bet's going to be the under in this game. Notre Dame in their loss was an extremely low-scoring game against Northern Illinois. In their one, in my opinion, competitive game against Texas A&M was 20-13, I believe, pretty low-scoring game. Again, Navy doesn't pass the ball. They're going to run, chew the clock. I think Notre Dame can stop them for the most part. I think this is going to be a pretty low scoring game. I think Notre Dame might win it around like 24 to 10 ish. So again, I do lean Notre Dame on the spread, but I think the best play and the play I'm going to take is the under of 51 points in this game.
Yeah, we are off to a bad start because I also hate the spread, so I'm going total. I'm going over in this
Oh, jeez.
game. I also do lean Notre Dame for what that's worth, but I mean that line is right where it needs to be. It's a coin flip at that line, so yeah, I don't know. I can't comfortably take Notre Dame, but yeah, I kind of like the over. Navy and Army are both putting up way more points than what we're used to seeing out of the academies. So I think your average Joe Schmo better is going to see a game in the 50s and want to immediately back the under with Navy. Um, but they're putting up points, obviously not against anybody like Notre Dame, but 51 last week, 34 against Air Force, 41, 56, 38, and 49. So no shortage of scoring for Navy. Like you said, they do run a lot, but they do have the capability to pass when they have to. And then Notre Dame at the same time, their offense is finally starting to click a little bit. You mentioned the two games early that they kind of struggled. They had that 23-13 win against A&M, lost with only scoring 14. But since then, it's been 66, 28, 31, 49, and 31. Um, so, yeah, I just think, this isn't a game I'm going to be betting, I don't think, in any shape or form. Um, but I do think the public is going to kind of look at this game and go a little bit towards the under, which normally they do bet the over. So I guess I could be wrong on that, but yeah, my gut just tells me to go over in this game. Yeah, that's my best pick. It's not a game I'm super excited about.
Yeah, again, I really struggle with these military schools, especially when they play each other. That will be a great game, though. Army Navy. I believe that's the week after rivalry week, but that'll be a great game coming up. Let's move on to the 3:30 slot. We have number 20 Illinois at number 1 Oregon. Oregon is a 21 and a half point home favorite. Over under is sitting at 54 and a half. Tough game. Again, this is a tough slate for me. I feel like I saw it better earlier today when I wrote these games down. My confidence is not great at the moment, but I'm going to send it to you first. Who do you got in this Big Ten ranked matchup?
Yeah, this one's tough for me too. Yeah, 21 and a half. Is that what you said for that
That's what
spread?
I said. Yeah, that was like 2
Okay.
hours ago. It might have changed.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing too. Um, yeah, I think people are going to be baited into taking Illinois. I think Oregon's going to be the right side here. I do typically like to look to fade the team that gets into that number one spot for the first time, and that might keep me off of Oregon here. That, and I'm trying to be selective so I don't lose 1,000 units for back-to-back weeks. But um, yeah, Illinois off the big win against Michigan. I mean, they definitely had that game circled. It's a team that they're familiar foes with. Obviously, moving forward, they're going to be familiar with Oregon, but from the past, Michigan is a familiar foe, ex-national champion, were ranked at the time. It was a huge game for them. Um, so I think there could be just a touch of a letdown. Not only that, they have to travel to Oregon, go out west. And then Oregon just had a gimme last week against Purdue on Friday, so they've had time. I know we liked Purdue last week. Unfortunately, did not come through for us. But yeah, I think this is the last ranked team on Oregon's schedule as it sits. And Michigan's really the only shot to play another ranked team, and I doubt they get ranked if they beat Michigan State. So, yeah, I think this is a big game for Oregon to keep rolling here. Um, they had the come down off the Ohio State win, so I think the spot is just better here. I think the line is going to make people want to gravitate towards Illinois. But yeah, I think Oregon ends up pulling away, proving that they might actually belong as the number one team in the country.
Yeah, I believe everything you just said. So I'll keep this pretty short. I think Illinois is more of the letdown spot in this game. They're wearing the throwbacks, hosting a national champion. First time they beat Michigan, I think, since like 2007 or something. So it was a huge game for Illinois. They got up for it. I watched the whole thing, and I don't know how my laptop's still standing. I wanted to chuck it out the window. But I think that was much more of an emotional game for Illinois. Now, like you said, traveling against Oregon, who is well rested. I think Oregon rolls in this game. I'll take them easily at the minus 21 and a half, wherever the spread's sitting currently. That second 3:30 game, we have an SEC matchup. This is my least favorite. I have number 20, or sorry, we have number 21 Missouri at number 15 Bama. Bama is a 16 and a half home favorite, over under sitting at 51. Missouri's 6-1 on the year. Bama just lost again last week to Tennessee. Missouri, I don't think they're very good. I really don't. I was critical of them in our SEC preview. They are, you know, I, they almost lose every single game. They took Vanderbilt to overtime. They got destroyed this week, or the other week by I believe A&M. Absolutely blew them out of the water. But then you got Bama, who has two losses here, and they're not terrible losses. It's to Tennessee and it's to, well, the one's pretty bad, to Vanderbilt, but they're still in this college football playoff talk. So I just don't know how to read this game. I think it's pretty obvious to take Bama. I'm going to side with Missouri. I don't believe in this team at all, but I think they could catch Bama. I think Bama sees that too. They see all these Missouri games, and they just squeak by every single week. And now Bama's back at home. I think it's a little too obvious to just take Bama to roll. So again, this is my least confident game, if you can't tell with the rambling I'm going on here. But I'm going to side with Missouri. I'll take them at the plus 16 and a half. Hopefully, I can get a plus 17 come kickoff. But yeah, this game's ugly for me. Kind of lean the over as well. Missouri's a dead nuts under team. I think they could put up some points, or Missouri team total possibly going over. Bama's defense is not great. So yeah, that was a lot of rambling for a game that I have no idea. So give me Missouri, I guess.
Yeah, I don't love this game either. My lean would be Alabama here, but I am going to give out the over for the pick. Um, my lean to Bama, and really for liking the over, I do think Bama's offense is going to come back around to what they were in their first four games. They have struggled the last couple weeks, but I don't know. It's tough when you're coming off the Georgia win, then you go to Vanderbilt, a team that you always beat. They catch you. Then I think they were still like feeling sorry for themselves against South Carolina. Almost lost that one. Then had to play Tennessee. It's just a rough schedule, I guess. And I think now they're gonna get themselves out of that little funk. Not only that, but we saw Bama get some favoritism last year for the four-team college football playoff, getting in over Georgia, Florida State, some teams that a lot of people thought maybe should be in over Alabama. So I think with the two losses, they're still extremely live to make a 12-team playoff. They're still going to get the favoritism over most other teams out there. Um, so I think now they just have to put their head down. They have to get as many wins as they can. I mean, they have to run the table at this point. Um, so I do think it starts here. Their first four games, 63 points, 42, 42, 41. I think they can get close to that again. They did have 35 against Vandy as well. Um, I could see this being like a 38-17 type of game. So I do lean Alabama to get back on track. But yeah, I think Missouri puts up enough points to push this one over the total. So I'll take the over 51 for my pick in that game.
Yeah, I like that quite a bit. I wish I took that. But yeah, that's probably what I'm going to be betting. To be completely, like, my actual bets, I think are going to be the over, possibly Missouri team total going over as well. So I like that we agree on that one at least. 4:15 game. That Vanderbilt team we just talked about has got to the rankings. They're now number 25, and they are hosting the one loss Texas Longhorns. Texas just coming off a beatdown 30-15 loss to Georgia. Texas is now an 18 and a half point favorite. I'm seeing over under keeps plummeting. I believe it's at 51 and a half here. I'll send it to you. What are you thinking? I think I might lose a lot of money on this game because I do have a pretty strong opinion on this one.
Yeah, I don't. I like Texas though. I'm gonna take the favorite. I mean, I think a lot of people are just going to line up on Vanderbilt. Can they do it twice? They might be able to. They're not bad. But I think Texas is going to be prepared. They definitely don't want Vandy to pull up the upset twice and be in the same boat as Alabama. Obviously, we just mentioned where Alabama has gone since their loss to Vanderbilt has not been pretty. Um, obviously last week was a huge game for Texas, but playing Georgia, it's never easy. A loss to Georgia, you're still extremely, very much alive um, to be a high seed in the college football playoff here. Still have a chance to play in the SEC championship and get revenge on Georgia if that's who you face. So yeah, it's I don't think Texas is going to be feeling too down about themselves in this one. It might be kind of a relief to get that first loss, honestly. I think they might play a little bit better when they're not the hunted number one team in the country. Um, so, yeah, I think just ultimately Texas is way better. They're still arguably the best team in the country right now. Yeah, I think Vandy's upset over Alabama is going to hurt them in this game because Texas won't take them for granted like Bama did. So, I will take Texas minus the 18.5. Not sure if I'll actually be betting that side, but for the show, that is my best pick in that one.
Yeah, I'm on Texas as well. I think they absolutely roll Vandy. I do love the under here. I was debating which one to pick, but I'm going to go back to Texas. I'm going to take them on the spread. Uh, yeah, obviously Vandy. Great win against Bama, the best in their probably program history. They had a good win following that against Kentucky at Kentucky. They took Missouri to double overtime. They also have a loss to Georgia State, so it's just a weird team that's running just on I don't know. I think they're just kind of running on trying to play the spoiler, trying to play the upset. They don't get up for the Georgia State game. They beat Virginia Tech as like 14-point dogs. Like I said, OT versus Missouri, they beat Bama, beat Kentucky. Almost, the Ball State spread last week was never a question. Plus 28 and a half. They won that game by 10. So they just play spoiler. They're the new Purdue this year, where they don't care about these normal games. If they see any team that they're playing with a ranked number next to them, it's their Super Bowl. But I think Texas takes it to them. I think Texas absolutely whomps them. Texas has a very solid defense, unlike Alabama. I think Texas wins this game like a 34-3 type of fashion. So I think they win it between 24 and 30 plus points in this game. Love the under too. I just really don't think Vandy's going to struggle. Also, it's the difference between Bama coming into this game and Texas coming into this game is Bama came into this game not knowing quite who Vanderbilt was. Texas now knows that this team is more than capable of pulling off upsets. They are more than capable of staying in a game. So Texas is not going to take this game lightly at all. I think they just blow the doors off, kind of walk away at the end of this game, keep it low scoring, but win it by 4, 5, 6 touchdowns in this one. So love Texas, love the under. We'll probably be on both of those.
This game kind of reminds me of that Georgia Kentucky game last year that we hammered,
Yep.
where Kentucky started picking up steam. Everyone thought, oh, they have a chance against Georgia, and then got their doors blown off them. Could see it here.
Yeah, this one might be a pretty big play for me. I like it. I like both those plays quite a bit, Texas and the under. Maybe Vandy team total under. I don't know. I'll definitely have a tweet out on that game because that's one of the games I'm seeing the best here. And then the fishiest line of the week, and one of the ugliest games at betting games is the 7:30 p.m. game. This is number 8 LSU at number 14 Texas A&M. Both teams have one loss. Texas A&M is the home team with being a 1-point favorite. I believe this line has dropped drastically. This was 2.5 a majority of the week, and I believe it just has moved late. Let me just double check. Yeah, it looks like it's even now on a lot of books. So this is moving heavily in favor of LSU. Unfortunately, I did lock in the Texas A&M right when it came out at the -2.5 because why not? Because it was that line's disgusting. I understand they're at home. They already lost at home to the season opener against Notre Dame. And now they're playing LSU, who is lights out right now. So it was crazy that they were a 2.5 point favorite. So I unfortunately locked them in. So for this show, I'm going to take. I guess I'll take a better line at the -1 that I have written down here. But yeah, it's ugly. And, ugly bets both in NFL and college football have not been hitting. The obvious plays are hitting at an unreal clip. But LSU is so damn obvious here that I think I got to take the ugly, and I think I got to back the Aggies here. How about you?
Yeah, I hate this game, but I'm with you. A&M money line for me. Not even gonna mess with the point, but didn't get to see Brian Kelly cry last weekend. Still have my fifth of Buffalo Trace sitting there waiting to be poured into a glass, watching Brian Kelly lose. So maybe this week. I don't love this game, but I'm just so not bought into LSU. I think A&M's better. LSU has Bama on deck. I think they could kind of see Bama as a kind of like a wounded animal right now that they can take advantage of and get them kicked out of that 12-man playoff. So maybe a touch of a look ahead. It's tough to say. That game is actually, they have a bye week before that. So probably not much of a look ahead, but yeah, I don't know. A&M at home, I just think A&M's ultimately the better team. I just cannot fully get behind LSU. Yeah, they blew out Arkansas. We both liked Arkansas last week, but it's not like it's a great win by any means. They barely beat Ole Miss in overtime, who isn't quite as good as maybe what people thought in the beginning. And what else? South Alabama, UCLA, you beat South Carolina by 3. You lost to USC. I'm just not bought in. So, yeah, and I don't like Brian Kelly. So give me A&M.
Yeah, again, we have a great slate of college football games this weekend. Please, like, follow, and share the show with your buddies. We really appreciate it. We also really appreciate any subscription that we can get on here. But yeah, make sure you do follow us over on Twitter. We do post all of our plays over on Twitter, our official plays. We record here on Thursday night. Mines do change a little bit between now and kickoff. But yeah, make sure you do follow us over there. Also, we will have some new shows coming out over on Better and Green. We, as always, have our NFL show, Intentional Lounging. Ben also does the UFC with and MMA with Bobby. And then we will be adding NBA. Will also be live today. We have NHL, which will start up next week. And then college basketball is right down the road. So over at Better and Green, we're trying to cover all the major sports for you guys. So hopefully you can have good insight on any sports games that you're looking to bet this week, or just in general. But we really appreciate you guys. And Ethan, do you have anything to add before we close out here?
Yeah, I mean, we love the comments, we love the likes, we love the subs. If you're still watching, if you want to leave us a comment, let us know. Are you go green, or are you go blue, or don't you care? If you're out of Michigan, I'm sure you don't really care much, but which one of us you want to see wearing the other guy's colors? Let us know in the comments. We really appreciate it, or just whatever you comment, we appreciate it. So please help us out with the comments, the likes. And just the last thing, like Wyatt said, our opinions sometimes do change between now and game time, usually not for the better. So I would listen to our opinions on the show more than the tweets coming out on Saturday.
Very, very valid there. Also, if you do have a better punishment besides wearing the opposing team's colors, let us know in the comments as well. But we appreciate you guys. Good luck this weekend. Week 9, college football. We're getting up there. So really take it in, absorb it, appreciate it. And we will see you guys next week.
You better start listening to the Better and Green podcast. You will not regret it. Trust me, trust me, trust me. And hey, I'm Dean Blandino.
Welcome to Better and Green, eh? To Better and Green, eh? To Better and Green, eh? Listen in and cash out. That's what it's all about. Come on, let's make cash now. We always on spot and we cover old spot from the bottom to the top. Hey, shout out to Ethan, shout out to Wyatt, shout out to Ben. Welcome to our podcast. Better and Green.